أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفثه. My name is Minam Jamil. I am a natural health practitioner and a hijama therapist. In this Ramadan, I am going to start Ramadan Healing Series. So, all of you out there, press the subscribe button and join me if you want to know about what healing really means and what it really looks like. So, in these Ramadan healing series, we will connect and understand the connections between the body, ruh, soul, heart, emotional intelligence, nafs, and intellect. And through the wisdom of Qur'an and Sunnah, of course, and the prophetic stories and finding the natural healing which Allah SWT has placed within every human being as we are born. Not only Ashraful Makhluk, but we have been blown Ruhi, the Ruh of Allah SWT in our bodies, and we will understand the spiritual diseases, the physical diseases, the functional diseases, and integrate them with the prophetic medicine, with the Islamic medicine, just to know that why we are not being ourselves, why we are deviated from our whole purpose of being the special creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what really is fasting? So it's not just the physical fast, it's also the emotional fast, the spiritual fast, the nervous system fast. Because the nervous system is the main system which can put you in an anger state, which can put you in a hungry state, which can try to loosen up that control system. So, your cortisol levels, your fight and flight mode, your sympathetic nervous system, why fasting controls over hunger, anger, shaitan, the lust, the unlawful desires. And Ramadan is not just a ritual, it is a divine prescription to attain taqwa. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, that, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for the people, before us too. But why? So that we attain taqwa. And taqwa, literally, in literal sense, it is translated as God's consciousness, but it's not just only God's consciousness and piety. It is more about self control, self restraint. Taqwa can be clarity of having a purpose in life. It can be the right kind of alignment with your goals. Taqwa can be the taqwa of the heart, taqwa of the lisan, taqwa of basar, taqwa of the mind, and to help a human being return to its original fitrah, original nafs, original ruh, original pure heart, original purity of the niyyah. And I would like to quote Ibrahim alayhi salam when he said that وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ, that when I am ill, it is He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who cures me. So, subhanAllah, this is such an amazing um, act in itself, that it brings us back to our Creator, back to nature, back to Fitra, where this ayah is in Surah Al-Ashura, ayah 80, where this statement was quoted by Ibrahim alayhi salam, where we see that he said, when I am ill. So he took that illness towards himself, and he did not attribute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for causing the illness to him. Rather, he accepted the decree of Allah, and he said, when I am ill, because this clearly shows that there are sometimes things which we cause sickness to ourselves, especially understanding the terrain theory and the germ theory. When our body in itself, our tissues, they fail to fight the germs, we can ourselves, can overeat sometimes ignore our needs, physical needs, spiritual needs, maybe biological needs, social needs, emotional needs. And we can also ignore sleep. Sometimes we might um, sleep more, sleep less, then we might get out of our circadian rhythm. And then, of course, the lack of nutrients with the type of food we are eating nowadays. It could be a lack of vitamin, could be the not the right choices of food, radiation, dehydration, and subhanallah, there are so many things human beings are not even aware of. The healing systems, the coping mechanisms which Allah SWT has placed in their bodies, where if we just take care of a few things, the body can fight and heal itself. This is an amazing capability of every human being to fight for its survival. And then the next part of the ayah, it says, "It is He who cures me." So these are the etiquettes of talking. When you talk about your Creator, you associate good qualities with Him. He is the one who cures, He's the one who takes care of our needs, He's the one who created us, He's the one who guides us, He's the one who provides us food and drink, He's the one who heals us. And we do not say that He's the one who causes us sickness, because in the story of Ayub alayhi salam, we saw that the shaitan was so jealous of Ayub alayhi salam that when he heard the angels praising Ayub alayhi salam for being a very shakir, grateful, thankful person, and so much so that it twinged envy, hasad towards the state of Ayub alayhi salam, that he challenged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this is just because you have given him so many blessings and he is thankful. And he pleaded to the Lord of the heavens that he complained to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if you take away his blessings, then I will see how much thankful he is. So this clearly shows us that the hardships which befall on human beings in the form of sickness, in the form of envy, in the form of evil eye, jealousy, magic, black magic, anything, this is from the enemy which cannot be greater than shaitan. And then Ayub alayhi salam proved himself, and inshallah we will go into the details how the prophets, um, cured themselves and when they were in such traps. So this verse is so significant because it teaches us the power of qadr, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has decreed everything. And number one lesson which I took from this ayah was the ultimate reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So looking at the prophets, looking at, even though they had their wisdom, their strength, and they even acknowledged that healing alone comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ash-Shafi. Then number two is illness is a part of human life, of course. Notice when Ibrahim alayhi salam said that when I am ill, and he was just, not only saying that, of course we can take it on ourselves when we get ill, and there's no human being ever on the face of this earth who was born and who has not gotten ill. Of course we all do, and we need the right means to heal ourselves, but this does not mean that we forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has provided us the asbab, but it does not mean that to over medicate ourselves so much so that our total reliance is just on medication. Our total reliance is either just on the doctors, just on the hospital system, and so much so that people even don't even think about praying once before stepping into a clinic. And my third point is this, that healing is not limited to medicines. Medicine is a means, but the cure itself comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. This alone ayah of Surah Fatah is enough to understand how much we just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the true healing, to understand the true healing. And inshallah, we will go through many verses of Qur'an in this Ramadan journey of healing. Many Muslims recite this verse when seeking comfort during illness. So it's also a reminder that, connecting ourselves emotionally and spiritually during our journey of getting healed from any harm or illness, inshallah. Another ayah I would like to quote is from Surah Jinn, ayah number 10, where the jinns actually said, وَأَنَّ لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرُّ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. And can you, I would just, give a little background of the ayah that when the jinns used to go up, either they used to work for the magicians or by themselves. As you all know, the jinn themselves can do magic on humans and other jinns too. So they would go up and try to target the seventh sky, hear somewhat information from the angels, try to get into the Luh Mahfuz, pick up a few things. And this was how they would work. This was their work. SubhanAllah, these jinns were not Muslims yet. The Quran was not revealed, but they saw that now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in a barrier to those doorways and portals through which they were going up and trying to hear out, but then they were getting those shahab saqib, the shooting stars, and they were thrown back down on the earth. So the translation is, and we know not whether evil is intended for those on earth, and this includes them, they too, earth, on people who are the earthlings, the people, and everybody who lives on the earth, um, jinns or humans, whoever, or whether their Lord intends for them a rashada, right path, right guidance, right judgment. So this is so profound when you want to understand that they were used to going up and getting messages, working for the magicians, the soothsayers, or working for their own interest against shayateen, with for working for Iblis or whoever, but they could not go up anymore. And this was like a big stop on their actions, which they were used to do it. But they had the etiquettes, they understood the creator so well, they did not blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for putting a barrier. They could see it, okay, something evil has come. Why they said evil? Because, okay, something is stopping them from going up, getting information, doing their work. But they did not say Allah has intended evil on them. Na'udhu billah. They just said, and we know not whether evil is intended for those on the earth. They just said this. They did not said uh, Rabbuhum Ashar. They did not, but rather they said Rabbuhum Rashadan, Rashada. That their Rabb intended something good. So this just shows the phrasing of their speech, the etiquettes, because they did not attribute the doing of evil to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is also said in Sahih, وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكَ. We all know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created evil. He has created good. He has created, in the Chinese medicine, it's taken as yin and yang. Everything is created in a harmony, and He has created our bodies in such a way, if we do the right practices, it can stay in a harmony. And this is what this Sahih hadith says, that وَشَرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكَ, that evil is not attributed to إِلَيْكَ, you, Ya Allah. Because the jinn understood that it could be a kind of a punishment coming, or if it is guidance, if it is rashada, it is linked with Rabbuhum, their Rabbahu, the dwellings on the earth. So Even the jinns understood, and they were not yet Muslims. Subhanallah, they did not say Allah intends evils. And how can insan, when he falls sick, say that Allah has made me sick, or Allah has decreed sickness on me, or Allah has made me in a miserable state? No, na'udhu billah. We will, inshallah, study in these series the example of Ayub alayhi salam. And subhanallah, we always believe that the sickness, 99% of the sicknesses are simple traps of shaitan. They're simple traps of shaitan. And inshallah, we will study it through Quran, through proper examples, where the Quran itself teaches, how to avoid all of this, and especially how to have a strong aqidah about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you will eventually avoid doing mistakes and sins in which then shaitan finds holes and he can, enter and make you sick and make your life miserable. Not only the physical sickness, but also mental, psychological, spiritual, ruhani sicknesses. I would like to go back to Surah Fatiha, where we say, the path of those who you have blessed and not of those who earned anger. So here there's another beautiful example where we see that Allah is not described angry. He is a judge, and he's the one who judges. It is humans who surpass the limits, who cross the boundaries, who cross boundaries in every sense. And then Allah has to take those decisions, which might look cruel from a human perspective, but Allah take those decisions to preserve goodness, harmony, humanity in the world. And it might look from an external point of view to a person who does not have enough wisdom to understand that, Allah is na'udhu billah angry, but he gives so many chances beyond we can understand, because he loves us more, 72 times more than our own mother. Going next to Surah Nisa, ayah 79, whatever good comes to you is from Allah, and whatever evil befalls you is from yourself. This yourself here, nafsi, and the meaning of nafs can be taken in so many different ways. It just it opens discussion for so many things in prophetic medicine, how to take care of yourself, what mistakes could you be doing. And it also shows that, Allah creates good and hardship, but evil is not morally attributed to him. Evil is tied to human choice and free will, and how we use that free will knowingly in our full consciousness, when we make decisions in our full state of mind, that kind of consciousness. So, subhanallah, this just shows that when Allah decrees hardship, it is because He's just, because He's wise, because ultimately there is good in the outcome. And Allah does not intend evil in moral sense. So, subhanAllah, I think we discussed a lot of things which we will be discussing in detail in these Ramadan Healing Series. And I hope if you want to be a part of this journey, just subscribe to this channel. And inshallah, healing is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of you out there who are seeking true healing, who are marid, who are sick and want to heal themselves, inshallah, this is for you. I hope this is a big help for you. Inshallah, may Ramadan be your turning point to understand your body's true healing with humility, with a recognition of Allah's perfection, with awareness of that healing is not random, healing is not accidental. It is decreed. And inshallah, we will study more about the integration of natural healing, our bodies, with the Quran, with Sunnah, and with prophetic examples. So I hope this was enlightful, and see you in the Ramadan Healing Series. Masalama.